Welcome to the rundown. Jamal Thomas, Sarah Bils. Sir, you're not sharing this? Oh, okay, there it is. I didn't see
Yeah,
it
I'm
initially.
working.
Okay.
No.
My bad. I was like, wait a minute, where's the link? Where's the link? How you doing this morning? Well, how you doing this
Good. How
evening?
are you?
I am doing fine. I don't want to be a location chauvinist. So far so good. No issues. Can't complain. A lot of news. A lot of news. And I guess the question is, do you want to start? And then I take the next story. It's up to you. I have no feelings about it one way or the other.
They're
Um,
kind of overlap. What topic did you want to start with?
so I think one of the most interesting ones is the North Korean one.
Oh,
Yes, the North Korean operation. That story is amazing. And I don't know if the audience realize. Okay, let's start here. I had pulled this story out to do the story yesterday. There was tech issues, and I wasn't able to necessarily do the story.
okay.
And I was trying to pull up what I had for it. But let's start here. Do people remember this? Come on. There we are. I'm curious if people remember this in Donald Trump's first term, where this famous meeting between Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un.
To see you again.
And in that moment, Donald Trump crossed the demilitarized zone into North Korea. That wasn't necessarily planned, but it's Trump. He did it anyway. And everybody, even people like me, were like, oh my God, this is great. Donald Trump is trying to, at the very least, bring down hostilities with North Korea. This is a good thing. Come to find out that while this was going on, Donald Trump had commissioned a SEAL team to try to, quote unquote, put in a device of some sort into North Korea as he was having the conversation with Kim Jong-un, and all of this peace, lovey-dovey, all of this stuff was supposedly taking place. What's wild about it is the mission fell apart almost immediately. And so they commissioned SEAL Team 6. They had an idea. They said, hey, we don't have really good information and assets to get into North Korea. Okay. So we have a plan. We would like to use SEAL Team 6 to infiltrate North Korea, their water, go through a submarine, I think they said about a football size, that has smaller submarines that would then slowly sneak into North Korean waters. Then you would have Navy SEALs fly out in their own little personal swimming device. They would stay in the water for a period of time, and they would slowly make their way onto land, put the device, and leave unseen among anybody. Apparently, when they first started, the first part of the plan went fine. Second part of the plan was a mistake with the submarines, and they had to kind of remaneuver the submarines as the SEALs tried to get to land. A fishing boat, who are out there effectively diving and fishing, sees lights. And apparently the lights that they see are those of the submarine or something of the SEALs giveaway. The fishing boat, curious, because it's like, who else is out here in the middle of the night, gets closer. One of the guys gets into the water, and the SEAL Team 6 has no communications with their own subs to know what is taking place. And apparently, from the perspective of the SEAL team, they see a boat over top of them. They panic, murder the guy in the water, murder everybody on the boat, like meaning they literally just kill everybody, drag the bodies into the water to make it look as if there was some kind of fishing accident. Mind you, they're riddled with bullets. So
They
there's
weighted
that.
them down.
Yeah, and weighted them down so they would get into the water. Now, they, at this point, haul ass, get back into their subs in order to make a beeline to get out of Dodge, out of the territory. Apparently, within a very small amount of time, you had North Korean guards swarming the area and everything else. But the SEAL team was able to get out, but the mission completely and entirely failed. Now, all of this was taking place. And by the way, we don't even know that all of this, because a lot of the stuff is in the black. a lot of the stuff has been classified. And the only reason parts of the stuff is being unclassified, supposedly, because the interesting question is, okay, why are you telling me this now? Is because they said, well, there's so much publicity given to missions that succeed. We don't want to have an over-reliance on our SEAL teams in these special operations when some of these things go horribly awry. I think that's a crappy answer, but okay, whatever. And a lot of the stuff is still in the black, meaning we don't even know all of the details of this. These are just the details that they have outed. That's amazing. Like, even a basic mission of peace can't just be a basic mission of peace.
No.
They figure we need information, because what they point out is we have very little human sources and very little ways of getting information on Kim Jong-un. And they have no defectors in that sense where they can get that information. So their thought was, if we can plug this device, we'll know what's taking place behind the scenes. Maybe we can get compromising information. Maybe we can get information on their capabilities, on who they're talking to, or whatever, right? They just wanted data. This failed miserably. They murdered North Korean civilians. That's amazing. That's amazing. And then to make it even worse, they said, clean kill. That upon review, this is a effectively clean murders. That's amazing. Give me your take on this. This is outrageous. And by the way, North Korea didn't say anything because as a state, the moment that you say something, you're stuck with what you say. So it seems that they just buried it.
I'm not surprised at all. I'm just not surprised. How many teams of SEALs or mercenaries have they found in Venezuela trying to go overthrow Maduro or do something to Maduro? I'm not surprised at all that they used Trump's supposed goodwill gesture to sort of engage in a covert operation. I'm also not shocked that they failed. Like, if you read A Legacy of Ashes, you'll understand the CIA's been unsuccessful more than they've been successful. They kill people constantly, even their own. So it's not shocking. I'm glad that this information is coming out now while the United States is in negotiations with Russia and all of the turmoil that's going on diplomatically with the BRICS bloc and SCO, as well as what's going on in Venezuela. It's just more proof in the pudding that the United States cannot ever engage in good faith, no matter what they say. They will not engage in good faith, ever. Name one time the United States has engaged in good faith.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah,
I can't think of one. Rules-based order is built into the framing and terminology, right? It's our rules, you follow the orders. We don't need to be honest with you. We don't need to be straight with you. We can make a deal and pull out the deal immediately when it's no longer serves our interests. That's the way we function. That's the way we operate. It just sucks. Because this was like one of those moments where you had a rare opportunity to actually come to some kind of agreement. Like, they were making inroads. And, Donald Trump, habitual liar that he is, it's like, hey, Trump, we have this idea. Sure, let's do it. He could have said no. That's why I bristle at this idea that this was some kind of clean murder. He could have said no. Nobody told him to do that. Nobody told him to invade North Korea. Nobody told him to murder the fishermen. Nobody told them to do any of that stuff. They chose. And then to turn around and justify it by saying, clean murder. It's okay that you murdered these North Korean fishermen because, hey, how could you have foreseen that North Korean fishermen would, stumble upon your operation? And so, yeah, it's okay to murder those North Korean fishermen in North Korea, in North Korean fishing waters. That's amazing. But you make a good point. Buyer beware.
I also think it's really poignant that it gets released now after we kill 11 civilians in Venezuelan waters. Yes. It's really just incredible that we just kind of gallivant around the world. And, since this was a SEAL Team 6 mission, that comes from the Pentagon, so that comes from the president. That's the military side. This isn't, oh, you can't throw up your hands and say, I didn't really know. This was the CIA kind of working on their own volition. No, this comes right from the commander in chief. This is the public side. This is his realm. So yes, this is all on Trump. I'm actually, you said a habitual liar. I always try to look at him as like just a businessman, but I think that like it's not. I can't even give him the benefit of the doubt anymore. He's deliberately setting people up to lie to them and to scam them and to topple their governments while he's shaking their hand with the right hand, and the left hand is over here trying to stage a coup or murder them.
Oh, you were giving them the benefit of the doubt? Oh, habitual liars lie. Oh, habitual liars lie. That's a rule. It's like gravity. I mean, Donald, what has Donald Trump ever done that is giving you any kind of thought, idea that he was being an honest actor? He lies as easily as he breathes to get from point A to point B.
Right, but there's a difference between lying for business purposes and lying for gain than it is to just be a sociopathic habitual liar for no reason. This person is cunning. He's conniving. He's not just a liar.
I mean, okay. I don't know. He is cunning. He is conniving. But the problem is, when everybody knows you're a habitual liar, how cunning can you actually be? I mean, you could be a salesman and you sell something to one person and say, hey, I know I lied about all of this other stuff, but you can trust me on this one.
Yeah, I don't know what they're banking on with this. Like this whole, like, I just ruin our reputation everywhere. You know, I do whatever I want everywhere and there's no consequence. I don't know what the game plan is here. I'm not really understanding.
There is no game plan.
Like, did they not think that like people weren't going to all hear about it? Like they weren't going to talk? Like nobody was going to find out about the other one that you effed over?
I think Trump thinks America's a superpower. We can do what we want. And so if we're allied to this person, so what? You still have to engage us because we're a superpower. We do what we want. I think that's the way he thinks. When he goes onto a tariff war, common sense or rational man would say, hey, what if all of them did tell you to F off? What then? Right? But he doesn't think that. We're a superpower. We do what we want. We'll bully whoever we bully. When he goes after India, rational human being would say, you know, India is your gateway into BRICS. And because India is your gateway into BRICS, maybe you want to treat them differently. No, hubris, ego, mendacity, all of these things come into play. America, exceptionalism. And so we don't have to deal with these brown people on equal terms, even if it's in our best interest to do so. We will dictate and they will bow. And then when India tells the US to F off for all sorts of reasons, dealing with, you know, the colonial history, the fact that they are 1.3, 1.4 billion people, the fact that they can't destroy their own agriculture economy, the US is shocked by it. Oh my God, I can't believe they responded that way. And you have that lunatic Letnick out there after Navarro is like, this is Modi's war. They're so arrogant because they care about their sovereignty. Letnick is like, if they apologize to America and they stop using Russian oil and they open their markets, then, you know, maybe we will be favorable to them with a 25% tariff. Okay. You just stay waiting for that. You just stay waiting for that. It's lunacy. But in their minds, if you are functioning on this idea that you are somehow superior, that you are cosmically, morally, culturally, somehow better, even though that, you know, you look in the mirror and there's no reflection that gives you that, then you may come to some weird conclusion that you can literally function in the world any particular way that you want. There's this great scene. I don't know if you've ever seen Kelsey Grammer in Boss. He's so good. He's so good in Boss. There's a scene where he goes to the bathroom. The guy knows he's going to the bathroom. He uses the bathroom, does not wash his hands. He knows the guy sees him not wash his hands, and he walks out and shakes the man's hand, offer his hands, knowing full well that the guy's going to shake his hand. That's Trump. Yes, you saw me go to the bathroom. You saw me not wash my hands. I know you saw me not wash my hands. I'm still going to extend it to you, and I expect you to shake it nonetheless. That's our president.
Yeah, and I'm there's a part of me that kind of wants like maybe a little humility or whatever, but I'm like I really just want the people that are in charge of me to be smarter than me, and I don't think that these people are. I don't think that they have any idea what they're doing when it comes to geopolitics. I mean, that's what you just said about India being your kind of your stepping stone into BRICS. Everybody knew that. Why didn't they? And then he like got on Truth Social and he said uh, we've lost Russia and India to darkest China. And it's like, yeah, you did that. What did you think was going to happen? It's
You
just
open up.
wild to me. It's like, are you guys retarded? Like a beginner geopolitical analyst would know that you shouldn't. India was your only friend in BRICS, your only real friend. Just weird, man. The whole thing is weird. It's a very incoherent, irrational foreign policy, but that makes it all this scarier because dying empires act irrational.
Yeah. I have a few rules of politics. Racist people don't see the world clearly. That's another one. And, I've made this argument in the video that Nazism and Western imperialism or Western exceptionalism are very similar to one another. They function on the same basis of we are culturally, ethically, morally superior, not for anything that we do, meaning it's not tethered to physical reality. It's just baked in. It's almost like God-given. It's an esoteric, an ethereal quantity to us. And people who think that don't have to be tethered to reality in the way that they operate. Donald Trump exudes that. This administration exudes it. You could say all of the presidents did, but these actions that they're making are just comically ridiculous. To your point, you would hope that your world leaders are smarter than you are. These people are not. Letnick, Navarro, these people are incompetent. Trump, incompetent. You go down the list of the people who he put in his administration. These people are just yes men. It's not like they have competence, diplomacy, these things that you would think that a state would have. No, one decision after the next has been utter and complete failures. Pretending as if you are negotiating with Russia while you're in a war with Russia. Okay, obviously Russia knows that this is nonsense, even though they will play along. Like a lot of this stuff, it just, I don't know. There's a level of stupidity associated with it that is almost comical, that you wouldn't believe it if they put it in a movie. That are all self-owns. That maybe there's some grand 20-dimensional game of checkers being played that I'm just completely unaware of. But it looks like you are alienating countries left and right. Look at what happened with South Korea. Good example. Donald Trump tries to get some kind of deal out of South Korea and then turns around and locks up all of those migrants. Like ICE raids, humiliating ICE raids in the way that they're treating South Koreans. They don't care. They don't care. They look at it as we're a superpower and we're going to behave as such. And that gives us license to do what we will. And you suffer what you must. And seemingly, honestly shocked when the world responds what I would call rationally, but they seem to be completely bewildered by why people act the way that they do. It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. So that is the story with North Korea. I haven't heard a response from North Korea yet. I don't know if you have.
Nope.
Do you expect a response? That's the interesting question.
No.
Neither do I. Why don't you expect a response?
What are they going to say? They have nothing. They should have nothing to say to America ever again. Like,
no, see, I was thinking of it differently. From my point of view, states will bury things that are embarrassing or that they don't want to deal with, because the moment that they bring it to the level of state, you're stuck with it. Meaning, if Russia knows that there are U.S. forces and French forces in Ukraine, and they bring this up as if you're doing this from a military point of view, you're stuck with that. So they would say they're mercenaries in Ukraine, even though they full well know that they were U.S. personnel and French personnel and British personnel in Ukraine. The Danes that just got slaughtered after Putin's warning. You know, like I guess my point is, how does North Korea bring this up?
To who?
And not,
Who are they going to bring it up to?
I mean, even bringing it up to their own populations, even bringing it up to the UN security or to
They would never tell their own. They're not going to tell their own population.
Exactly.
Why would
Exactly.
they? That would scare the shit out of them, and rightfully so.
It would, and the population would expect the government to behave or to act.
I don't know that they would.
You don't think the population would expect the government to respond to that?
No, the population is going to follow what the government says. It's North Korea.
Okay.
I don't know if you understand how isolated these people are from like outside information. They probably don't even know that this even happened.
No, I totally get that. I guess I'm saying any population that sees its people killed, especially by a hegemon, especially with the history of North Korea and the United States, will feel some kind of way that the U.S. did that. North Korea has an interest in not bringing this up to their population. I agree. I don't disagree with you. They probably don't know. State secret. It's just amazing. It's just mind-blowing. Not shocked by it, but Jesus Christ. Can we have a peace meeting that's actually a peace meeting? And apparently the answer is no.
We can't. Okay. Like it's like I like not frustration with you, but this is a recurring thing with I encounter with Americans online. It's like we are the baddies. I don't know how else to tell you. We're the baddies. We're the baddies in every single conflict. When were we not the baddies? It's just so incredible. And all of this stuff is just going right over the heads of Americans. And then that just adds more to the exceptionalism and the expectation of you will negotiate with us because we said so.
Yeah.
You will do what we say.
But that's my point, though.
So.
Yeah. That's my point. Like when you say, like, certainly other people can see what these people are doing. Yes. They don't care. They just, in their minds, we will hurt you if you don't negotiate with us. We're a naked hegemon, so we can do what we want.
Yeah, now they're showing people, we'll come kill your civilians.
Yeah.
Not just North Koreans. We'll come kill your Venezuelan civilians too. We'll come kill any civilians that we want, and we'll just say whatever we want about them, and then that's that. Or we won't say anything at all.
But see, we've always acted that way. Like even in the kill squads, South America, under Reagan, we were acting that way then. New? It's new because back in those days, at the very least, we had the ability to cover it up. And we had the ability to still go with this veneer of freedom, justice, love, and light. And I would wager to you that the majority of the population had no idea that we were doing it.
So then that's why it's news.
Yes. It's naked now in a way that it wasn't before. Unless I'm missing something. Unless you're going at a different...
Right, well, I mean, you kind of said like, well, we have always done this. Okay, but we've always done it and it's not a big deal. Then why is it news?
Still a big deal. Murdering people. I mean, for God's sake. We're murdering people. And the Venezuela thing is definitely big news. It puts me in the mind of this, and it's terrifying on some level. I agree with you. Like when Bush says this is enhanced interrogation, and it's obviously torture. There are weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and they're not. It's this notion that you could just craft a lie, and everybody responds to it, knowing it's a lie, as if it's the truth. And the very act of having the lie is in and of itself enough to pretty much do anything. That's a weird phenomenon, but that is the way our government functions. I'm looking for the picture of the boat being blown up in Venezuela.
We watched it on Thursday, I think so.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Might be in your.
I mean, and then they're like
media,
and they're like, well, they're just drug dealers. Trust us. We're the U.S. We're not going to lie. Okay. Give me your take.
I don't understand the end game here. Like, I don't understand the end game. What is killing a speedboat or a fishing boat with 11 civilians on it? What message does that send to anybody? Even your own population. I mean, we have no proof that any of the people in this boat were the people they say they are, that they had drugs. And I'm sorry, I said it to JD Vance on Twitter. Like, the drugs come from in the house, inside the house. Like, we're call the ATF, the DEA, and the CIA if you want to know about the drugs. They're not coming on a fishing boat from Venezuela. You can't make that trip on a fishing boat. Like, what are we kind of covered this a little bit on Thursday, but what are we doing? Like, what are we what like, I don't understand like what message this is supposed to send. Even the president of Colombia said we don't act like this. We have been dealing with drug traffickers for many years, and we never killed them.
The story is bizarre. I mean, it doesn't even logically follow. Do they know how far it is to get from Venezuela to the U.S.? Who the hell is going to do that in a speedboat?
Yeah, they couldn't have anyway from the place that they launched from. So
yeah, and then if you're going to do a drug run, the drug run has to make sense. Like, meaning it's a business. I have to take enough drugs and get the money to be a worthwhile trip. Okay, you're in a speedboat. Like, come on. Like, it makes no sense. They did it because they could do it. That's it. It's an illegal order. And of course, they're going to follow those illegal orders. They've been training off the coast of Puerto Rico. There's that. There's been all sorts of training, helicopter maneuvers, hovercraft, all of these things that have effectively been training with this notion of some kind of invasion into Venezuela. It's a coup attempt. It's not about drugs. It was never about drugs. Drugs was just the stalking horse. It's like Iran has nuclear weapons, so we must attack Iran. Their weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, so we must attack Iraq. And drugs are coming from Venezuela, so we have to attack Venezuela. It's nonsense. It is. All of it's nonsense.
Well, I mean, once we overthrow Maduro and fix Venezuela, then Philadelphia will be the Garden of Eden, and there won't be any more drugs and drug problems in the United States. So
I am praying that every missile, bullet, every drone, every ship that Venezuela has at their disposal hits their enemy. They are invading a sovereign country just because. There's no legitimate.
Because.
Yeah. Oil, reserves of rare earths. They want to get there. And not to mention this notion, because China and Russia has expanded into South America. China has been building these ports. I believe it was in Peru. That is huge, massive. I think it's like the second largest in the world. The U.S. is freaked out because they're losing control even in their own backyard. And Venezuela
is a puppet government in Peru too. They overthrew the last government, the indigenous, democratically elected government. The United States overthrew them too.
Yeah,
like, this is such a joke. You could just go up and down the country.
Yeah,
or up and down the continent. Sorry, up and down the continent.
No, you're fine. There was a sad clip of Maduro, and he was pleading to the American public. And he was effectively saying,
don't be fed any more lies. That one?
Yes. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, you're pleading to the wrong people. You're pleading to the wrong people. We are a rogue state. And I feel in the same way, if some rando in Nazi Germany at the time had a conscience and was like, hey, this is outrageous. If they had a podcast and you're in Nazi Germany and you're like, hey, this is outrageous. I can't believe they're doing this. And other governments are pleading, saying, German people, rise up. Don't do this again. Would there be any effect in the way that the Nazi Germany would operate? No, it wouldn't be. Like, I don't know what this became a fight on my channel, by the way. I'm not going back into it because it's just drama. But I have a very cynical point of view of the American public. And I would wager to you that a large part of the American public is like, hey, that's right. We need to get Maduro because of.
There is a large percent.
Yes.
I hate to be like the bearer of bad news. I
Yes.
actually get shocked at how many people I encounter that they don't even care. Like, they'll just keep moving the goalpost, and then it just gets to like, oh well, he's communist, so we got to kill him.
I'm not shocked. I've watched us commit a genocide with people being okay with it.
That was the
I've
point.
watched us knock over. Yeah, I watched us knock over Iraq. People were okay with it for all intents and purposes. They didn't care until bodies of Americans are coming back. We've been in Syria with ethnic cleansing. They don't care. And so now you have this situation where they're going after Venezuela, and the American public, I would wager to you, doesn't care. It's like the Nazis in Nazi Germany, who were perfectly oriented themselves to whatever the government was going with. Hey, we're going to do this. Hey, okay, fair enough. It doesn't affect us, so fair enough. They started to care only when bombs started to hit Berlin, and when the Soviets effectively invaded and took revenge. Up to that point, they didn't care. There was no leverage applied to the government and the population. That's us. That's us. People who think there's going to be this uprising. If he thinks he's talking to the American public, and the American public is going to be like, hey, I think that guy's right. I think they are lying about this. The American public probably accepts that they're lying and don't care. I don't care. I don't know what you do with that.
That's why I'm like, kind of been like, even during this episode, like throwing my hands up a bit. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what the goal is. I don't know the end game. I don't know the plan. Every day it's another set of lies that we have to like detangle and decode. And the foreign policy is so incoherent and dangerous. I don't really know, like as an analyst or even as a citizen, how to really digest it.
Proceed.
Yeah. Because if you're an irrational rogue state, right? There's nothing for me to analyze. There's nothing for me to predict. So, and that's kind of where we're getting. I mean, we've got them
Wait, what do you mean
practicing.
nothing to predict?
There's nothing to predict, because how do you predict the actions of an irrational rogue state? You can try, but they don't stay inside a coherent ideology or a coherent path. The United States has gone completely rogue. They're doing things that I would have never thought they would ever do. That shooting that boat in the Venezuelan waters is, I try to keep reminding people that it happened, because so much has already happened since then. It's got memory hold. That's a huge act of war. Could you imagine if Brazil came to like Seattle and was like, we thought you were going to bring drugs to our country, so we just killed these crab fishermen. Like, what are you talking about? You just go in someone else's waters and start policing it?
Therein lies the rub. If you are a hegemon, I mean, look, I think the thing with Israel should have gotten across to us that there is no Leviathan. There is nothing coming to save you. You do as you will. And because I think if you are, let's say, the Trump administration, you say to yourself, what is anybody going to do about it? And you start there. And if the answer is nothing, fair game. Look at what they did with Iran, right? What is anybody going to do about it? We attacked, unprovoked, a country with the notion of trying a decapitation strike on the government of that country. What was the consequence? There was none. Like the moment that you're functioning in a world like that, where you recognize there is no consequence for our actions short of, let's say, oversteps that may have some kind of fallback consequences. Like if they attack Venezuela, and Venezuela has the capability to take down boats or something like that and kill a bunch of Americans. Okay, well, that's a consequence. Nobody told you to do that. They may ask questions about, hey, why were you attacking Venezuela, especially if you're getting these Americans killed? Maybe that's assuming that happens that way. But there's no United Nations coming in and say, hey, we frown upon that. There's no UN Security Council being convened saying we frown upon that, or other nations of the world restraining the rogue actor in this. It's not that. You don't have people throwing their bodies in front of cops, getting shot in order to create some kind of foment. You don't have any of that. So what is there to inhibit the actions of a rogue state? I mean, think of Russia. Russia is a really good example. The only reason Donald Trump is bringing Putin to Alaska is because Putin was able to defend himself and to destroy the forces that were allied against him in Ukraine. That's it. If it wasn't that, Trump will be pressing his advantage like any other president will press their advantage in that arena with the idea of trying to either overthrowing, toppling, or at the very least undercutting Russia. Venezuela can't do that. Brazil doesn't have the power to do that. We are a rogue state with nukes. We can do it. I know that sucks. And people are like, God, man, that's a hell of a black pill to swallow. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Show me the protests. Show me people throwing their bodies on the street saying, oh my God, don't do this to Venezuela.
Even if they did, what of it? People have been throwing themselves on the streets. People have been killing their own college careers. People have been ruining their own jobs for Palestine. It hasn't changed a damn thing. Why should they throw their bodies down for Venezuela? What would it even do besides get them into a hell of a lot of trouble and ostracized?
Then there is no response.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's unpredictable. Is what I'm trying to get at. It's not like you look at it and you say, oh my God, this is a rogue state. What are they going to do? It is a empire that is losing grip of the globe and seems to be grabbing what it can grab on its way down. Did you see that paper? I think it was the Wall Street Journal. Oh God, I need to find that paper where they were saying that the U.S. was that the Pentagon was recommending that the U.S. pull out of China because at this point it kind of accepts we will lose any conflict that we have with China. We will lose any war that we have with China. China is out the barn. We can't do anything about that. And to reorganize its energies into basically going after states like Venezuela or going after states that are closer to its backyard to reposition itself on the global stage by hunkering down, let's say on South American states or just areas in the region. I need to find that paper. Hey, I
know what you're talking about. I'll find it. One second. Okay. It was the Pentagon that told.
It was the Pentagon. Yeah. It was their new assessment of posture that they were apparently going with. And while we find that, I want to show somebody else. Guilty pleasure. Looks like my ex. I always say this. I want to give you some of her wisdom while you look that paper up. Because you pointed out, I want our leaders to be smarter than us. I agree with you. I agree with you. The wisdom.
Versus, the Chinese are very good at technology, but they are not that good in social sciences. Versus, the Russians who are not good at technology at all, but super good in social sciences. So what are they doing? All the actors who are trying to make us weaker, they are actually, finding the little fires that are existing in our society and pouring fuel into those and both sides so that, suddenly you have, really minor issues, really big fires.
Where did that come from? Indeed. Where did that come from? Indeed? Oh, I love her. I love her. She's so pretty and dumb. It's great. Keep giving her the mic. Please keep giving that woman the mic. It's just content. Every time she opens her mouth, it's just additional content. There was a German guy in the European Parliament who responded to Kayla's, by the way. Because I keep saying to myself, Europe has to see this. Like, they don't see that she's giving commentary and she's representing the European Union and she gives this stupid commentary. I have thoroughly thought about buying her book. I am super curious about what's in that book. I think it's going to be fantastic content. I used to have a colleague that I work with, and she had this book that was amazing. The things that were in that book. The admissions. I guess my point is sometimes they are unironically great. This guy comes out into the European Union, responds to Kayla's directly, and says this. And I agree with everything that's coming out of his mouth.
I think it was in foreign policy.
432 relevant pages, 80% off in Estonia to $4.60. 8 cents. Not even available on Amazon. You know as little about the world as you do about diplomacy, policy, or brain surgery. I expect greater insight from my hamster. I'll quote the most important lines from your work. I made eye contact with this younger Air Force pilot. Afterward, I went to the
Oh, guilty pleasure. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was in foreign policy, and I do not.
Were you
have
able
a
to find it?
Yeah, it's in foreign policy. I don't have a subscription to foreign policy.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, what do you make of that? A, do you believe it?
No. They just know that they are losing to China and they need to buy some time.
Oh, short and sweet. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit weird for Hegseth a few months ago to be like, hey, Australia, hey, South Korea, hey, Japan, are you ready to die for the dignity of America? And then, what, 4 months later, 3 months later, we're changing posture to focus on.
Yeah, because they saw the parade and they can't get anything to work properly. So, of course, they're not ready to go to war with China.
But if they're not, they're never going to be. Like, they had a window of opportunity. At least that's my understanding of it, that they kept bringing up this 2027 nonsense.
Oh, no, they're right back in the tech race now. They've got all kinds of tech and data coming in from their wars in Gaza and their war in Ukraine. They're in a space race now for data and basically drone tech. So, yeah, they're focused on that. They're focused on their private contracts with people like Elbed and Anduril and Palantir and even, some of the lesser drone companies. And that they needed all of this data from the genocide and from the war in Ukraine. So, no, the window is not closed yet, especially now with these new servers, NVIDIA. Trump just had a huge dinner with the tech companies. People, that's not for social media. That comes right after he renames Department of Defense to Department of War. Like, the window hasn't closed yet. And these guys want China after Iran, of course.
Yeah. Agreed. This idea of trying to undermine BRICS and everything else. Yeah, I agree. I don't think if people are reading that thinking, well, the U.S. has given up on primacy, I think they're wrong. I think they're woefully wrong.
No.
And speaking of that tech conference, no, I agree. At that tech conference, there was this. Did you see that exchange with Zuckerberg by chance?
Mm-mm.
So Zuckerberg is sitting there with Trump. Zuckerberg comes out and says the following, which this is so pathetic, but is what it is. It's Trump. Come on.
Would you say over the next few years? How much are you spending, would you say, over the next few years?
Oh, gosh. I think it's probably going to be something like, I don't know, at least $600 billion through 28 in the U.S. Yeah.
It's a lot.
No, it's significant.
That's a lot. Thank you, Mark. It's great to have you.
Sorry, I wasn't ready to do it.
He said I wasn't sure what number you wanted to go with.
He says at the end of that, hey, I wasn't sure what number you wanted me to go with. He's just making this shit up.
But you have to follow it up with, what did Trump give him to have him lie? What's the take? If Mark Zuckerberg is there just kind of putting on a show for Trump, right? So Trump can get a W, as in, like, I'm spending $600 billion lying for him. What did Trump give Mark Zuckerberg?
Probably access, contracts. Probably contracts.
Mark Zuckerberg is now back in the good graces of the White House. He wasn't for a very long time. It's all very interesting. Plus, Microsoft bought a 20-something% share of NVIDIA. Like it's
Did they?
yes.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I saw the contract with Israel.
Microsoft and Google are currently in competition for cloud services around the world. Google picked up El Salvador. I think Microsoft might have gotten Israel. Like they're kind of going neck and neck to see if they're trying to pick up cloud servicing around the world.
Yeah.
So they're in their own sort of race.
Interesting. But you can imagine the military will want to make contract.
It will be
deals.
Microsoft for the military. Military only deals with Microsoft.
Mm-hmm. Homegrown. Yeah, that's super interesting. But if Zuckerberg is doing that, you can imagine.
What's everybody else?
Exactly.
Exactly. What are all the other lies that we've missed? The not on a hot mic.
Yeah, it's like, hey, sir, I didn't know what number to give. $600 billion is an astonishing
What about all the MOUs and IOUs in the Gulf? Were any of those real, or were they all fake too?
That's
all just this month was the lowest number of jobs, like lowest number of created jobs in like years.
22,000.
The emperor has no clothes, none. It's falling apart. It's falling apart.
But if you ask Trump, he would say this is the greatest jobs economy in the history of jobs economy. America is back. Mm-hmm. There is no recession.
We're the hottest country. Everybody's talking about us. This comes from everybody talking about China because China's on like a very big upswing. Even before the parade, he started doing this. We're the hottest country. We are on fire. I made this country so hot. It's so hot. Everybody's talking about us. We're the hottest country on the planet. And you're like, I call him Lady Macbeth now because he just is constantly protesting, whether it's about the Epstein files or about the economy or about jobs or about the border or about anything. And like, it's actually, I'm noticing it's getting even more insensitive and more sort of like aggressive, the way that they're more spiteful. It's really, the whole thing's really like the wheels are falling off. It's really getting crazy. I mean, the newest thing is that he's an FBI informant for the Epstein file. The whole thing is just a shit show.
That one is more interesting, believe it or not. So, do you remember the reporter? What is his name? Michael Wolff. I believe his name is Michael Wolff. Michael Wolff has all of these Epstein files and everything else. And this was years ago where Wolff put out that Donald Trump outed Epstein. Now, the reason he outed Epstein was because, A, they had a relationship that went back for God knows how long, meaning Donald Trump knew he was a pedophile. Donald Trump didn't care Epstein was a pedophile. And it's very possible that Donald Trump was engaged in some of that stuff. Apparently, the way Michael Wolff puts it is Donald Trump and Epstein, Donald Trump got his hands on the property. Epstein was like, hey, this place looks great. Donald Trump was like, don't it? It's awesome, right? Epstein swoops in and takes the property from under Donald Trump. This pisses off Trump. Trump then goes behind Epstein's back and puts in an anonymous call to the FBI to point out, hey, this guy's a pedo, in which case was Epstein's effectively first conviction. So the story supposedly goes that Donald Trump, out of spite, went after Epstein from behind the scenes because of a property that Donald Trump lost to Epstein. Who knows if that's true, right?
I don't even care if that, even if it was true in a perfect world, he didn't fucking do it because of his morals or because it was ethical or because he wanted to save the girls. He did it because of a business deal. Fuck you. And not even that. In 2019, he said, I've never spoken to the FBI. I've never called them. I've never talked to the FBI. So what is it, MAGA? What is it? It's literally fuck you. Okay? Because the story changes every GD month. So he told on Jeffrey Epstein because of a real estate deal.
That's the way the story goes. That's the way Wolff explained the story. That there was a real estate deal that went there, that Trump was bragging about the property, like, oh, I'm going to get this property. This property is great. I'm going to get this, etc. Because he was in real estate. And Epstein, he was bragging to Epstein, and Epstein just comes in and takes the deal. And Trump is pissed off.
What about Melania and Trump banging on Epstein's plane? Like, what this doesn't get, like, what is this?
He's not a good man.
I don't even care about the Epstein list and all this crap anymore. It's just so gross at this point. We have
Trump
to
is
have the
defending the
victims
pedophile.
out on the White House lawn. Like, what kind of country are we? What are we doing? And then they dragged the girls online. They dragged the girls. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, the guy had a plane called the Lolita friggin' Express. It's very clear he wasn't hiding it. He was actually putting it in our faces.
Yes. Yes. And Trump knew. When Trump was asked in an interview,
everybody knew.
Trump
Everybody
says,
knew.
He said Epstein is a great guy. He loves pretty girls and he loves them young. Yep. He likes them young. How young, Trump? How did you know that? How did you know that?
And what does young mean?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. See, for me, I like the honesty. Like, I like my monsters to tell me that they're monsters. And when you have a country that seems to be throwing their body to protect pedophiles, that's honesty. Oh, that's honesty. That is brimming honesty, right? Like, you can't get more honest than that. When you get Congress fighting to protect the list of millionaires and billionaires and these movers and shakers that apparently were indulging into all of these young girls, that's honesty. That is honesty. People may not like it, but Lord knows it is an honest take on what you are as a country. This is not love and light. This is not freedom and justice. This is something else. Your entire political structure is moving heaven and earth to protect pedophiles. Wow. Just wow. Like, that's amazing, right? I mean, whether it's genocide, whether it's pedophilia, whether it's killing random fishermen, whether it's killing random people in a boat. I mean, all of these things are endemic of who are you as a country in the larger scope of the world. I'm unaware of any other country that does stuff like that.
Not as overtly, at least. Not as brazen. I think that's the issue here. I mean, we're okay. Like, I'm really getting tired of this whole, like, well, at least we're doing it out in the open. No, that's worse. We're a state. There's supposed to be some sort of like decorum where you're like, we actually don't do this. Yeah, you're supposed to lie. That's literally how we've always done it. You're not supposed to flaunt it in your neighbor's face that you can go down there and kill a civilian boat full of 11 civilians. You're not supposed to flaunt that. You're supposed to pretend, oh, that was a mistake, or at least put some fake evidence in order to pretend that they actually were trafficking drugs like you used to. Where's Edward Bernays? He would be rolling in his grave right now. Where's the propaganda?
But even if they were, they turn a police action into a military operation. I mean, again, right? Speedboat, it's not going all the way to America for a drug run. That is ludicrous.
They don't even do the legwork to at least try to give themselves some plausible deniability, or try to give themselves something, something to say, well, this is what we knew and this is what we went on and blah, blah, blah. It's just so brazen. It's like, you probably didn't see it because you were asleep. I have it. Hold on. They're getting even they know they're wrong. And you know how I know they know they're wrong? How they know that I know that they're wrong. Is that they're arguing in the replies, right? So
you mean Vance Trump?
JD Vance goes, killing cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military. A commenter says, killing the citizens of another nation who are civilians without any due process is called a war crime. JD Vance responds, I don't give a shit what you call it.
They're making it up. Like, they're just making this shit up. Which, on some level, it's like going after Trump was fair game then, under this model. Like, meaning when the Democrats were going after Trump in these trumped up trials, it's fair game. I mean, this is the logic that Trump is using, right? Well, we say we don't need evidence for it. We're just going to do. Okay. So why should we trust you? Well, because we said so. Yeah, but that's the whole point of due process, right? Like, we don't want the king to be able to just say that somebody is guilty and then go murder a random person just because the king said it, which is what is effectively taking place right now. And again, there will be no consequences. It's that part. Like, to me, all of this stuff is based on leverage, consequence. What is the consequence for a particular action that you take? There are sometimes more rational, larger consequences, right? Like, where you are taking actions that are going to have long-term consequences in the way that you operate. So, say, for example, stealing Russian money. Okay, well, if you take that Russian money, there will be long-term consequences for your financial institutions in Europe. If either you're aware of it or not. Some of the countries in Europe are not aware of it, and they will be stupid enough to do it. The K-lists of the world would do it. Other countries that are stuck with the responsibility of it are like, yeah, we're not doing this. No, we've stolen it. We're holding on to it, but we're not going to take the extra step. Trump would be the type of person that would just spend it.
They don't have any way to They don't understand strategic planning. They only plan tactically. Yes. It's only what's right in front of us. They don't plan strategically. The Europeans and the Anglos, I guess, the Five Eyes, nothing is strategic.
Well, because they're following the dictates of a hegemon. They're not independent actors. What they do is effectively
what determines whether it's a hegemon or not? How many people believe it's the hegemon?
Oh God, this is the Game of Thrones thing, right? Power is where people think power is. Like, power is a shadow on the wall. If people think it's there, they'll respond to it. A, you have nukes. B, you spend $1 trillion on your military. C, you're lethal enough.
Right, but other militaries are doing more with less than we are. So spending doesn't really, that's not a good metric.
Agreed. But people are responding. I guess what I'm trying to point out is the United States still has an extraordinarily lethal capability that can be used all around the world, and the ability to project force all around the world in a way that other nations can't. I mean, China and Russia, as powerful as
is that all that makes you the hegemon? Is your military might?
Yes. Well, you would think at one point.
Well, then if might is right, then we might as well just embrace anarchy.
We have.
Right. So then none of this matters at all. UN doesn't matter. International law, none of it matters if it's might is right.
But you think I'm wrong? I mean, tell me if you think I'm wrong. I've always said international law doesn't exist. This is the law of the jungle.
Well, I'm wondering what makes somebody a hegemon.
Well,
if it's just military might, then nothing is. Then everything. If might is right, then Israel is right, Russia is right, United States is right. Whoever's the strongest is right.
Oh, I see what you mean. Well, no, it's not right in the ethical sense. It's just
what makes it a hegemon. People have to believe that it's the hegemon.
There's the belief. There's the economic capability.
I don't think they have the economic capability anymore.
But I think they do. Otherwise, these tariff wars in some of these countries wouldn't be knuckling under in the way that they are.
They're all little third world countries. The people that matter are saying, go fuck yourself. Even Brazil said, go fuck yourself. China, go fuck yourself. India said, go fuck yourself. What are these nations that are bending over for these tariffs don't matter? The EU, Cambodia. Uh-oh.
The EU. Well, for one, yes, the EU is a massive landmass.
They fucked themselves. That's not even like they got nothing.
I agree with you. I'm trying to point out, from the hegemon, you have diplomatic, military, economic, even. But they don't have it
now. We've already discussed them losing their diplomatic power. Nobody trusts them. They don't negotiate in good faith, so there goes their diplomatic power.
Yeah, but
they hold no water when they go to these diplomatic meetings. Nobody gives a shit what the Americans say.
Nobody believes what the Americans say, but they give a shit what the Americans say. That's
No, I don't. I disagree. I think the Russians are making fun of them.
Oh, Russia is a different animal. Look, let me ask you this. Is it possible to be a hegemon without necessarily having unilateral power? Yes. You can be one of the biggest gorilla, even though there are other gorillas, which is kind of what the US is coming to grips with now and why they're freaking the fuck out in the way that they are. At least that's my take. Like, I don't think they would be acting like this if they had this firm grip on authority and power where they could use
So then
soft
they're
power.
losing their hegemony, like I was saying.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. But losing it means on some level you still have it.
But why are they losing it? If what you've already said, if they have an unstoppable military and their diplomatic powers are unscathed, how are they losing hegemony?
I never said they were unstoppable military, and I never said their diplomatic powers were unscathed. I guess from my point of view is you have a large country amongst other countries that have the capability now to say F off in a way that they didn't have in the 90s. But that doesn't mean that the US is just nothing. I mean, if that was the case, Russia wouldn't even bother talking to Donald Trump on the phone. If that was the case, the EU wouldn't care. Like I'm saying, those countries still care. Whether or not they believe or trust the US, no, of course they don't trust anything comes out of Trump's mouth, but they still care. Iran wouldn't be going to the European Union, or for that matter, wouldn't have engaged in negotiations if they didn't care. They did care. They have the capability of attacking. And as we've seen, nobody gets involved. So any country that the US effectively goes to and bullies, the other countries effectively just watch. Russia doesn't do that. China doesn't do that. India doesn't do that. No other country does that.
Of course they watch. They've watched
I'm
this
saying they
entire
don't get involved.
genocide.
I'm saying they don't do anything. Even the issue with Israel, the other countries watch. Why? Not because they give a shit about 8.8 million people in Israel. It's because they care about the hegemon, the gorilla that's backing.
It's also because
that
it's
genocidal-
because it's none of their business. It's not their war.
That's true too. That's true.
I don't think Russia's scared. Russia's not getting involved with Palestine because they're scared of United States. They're not getting involved with Palestine because it's literally none of their business. Same with China.
I agree.
And because China has a huge partnership with Israel.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, I agree with that. That's cynical, but I agree with it. It's a realist view of the world, of why people engage and why countries do what they do. Agreed. I do agree. I guess I'm trying to point out, though, that even if they did want to, you're stuck with this idea of being in a nuclear standoff, which none of them ultimately want to do.
I don't think nuclear weapons matter anymore. Look at Russia. They're in a war with a non-nuclear state.
I think they do.
How did Russia's nukes deter anything? All that they've deterred is them nuking Moscow.
Russia is not going to attack.
Striking everywhere they want in Russia. They just got authorization for long distance strikes. What have the nukes in Russia deterred?
Well, you have to believe that the other country is going to respond. I mean, come on. Are you serious right now? There are countries, when they are engaging with each other, they usually slowly ratchet up in regards to escalation. They don't necessarily go to, I'm going to go to nuclear war.
Nukes no longer deter anything.
Nukes do deter.
They don't. If they deterred, then Russia would not be in the situation that it's in.
No, wrong. If that was the case, they wouldn't have used a proxy. They would have just went after them directly. They are deeply concerned that they're going to end up in a nuclear conflict. That's why Putin acts the way that he does. He's not hitting decision-making centers in Germany or anywhere else in NATO.
I disagree wholeheartedly.
You can, but that's what's happening in real life on the ground.
Okay.
I mean, you can disagree, but nukes matter. Nukes matter greatly. I can't believe you're making this argument that nukes don't matter.
They're not deterring anything. All that they're deterring is nukes falling on Russia. They're not deterring anything.
Why do they use proxies?
Because we're casualty averse and we're not well trained. We can't fight Russia on the ground.
Why hasn't Europe invaded?
We will get mopped. Why hasn't Europe invaded what?
Right. And when we get mopped, what is going to be the response of America after it gets mopped?
We're not
Or if
going
they
to
go,
war with Russia on the ground. So that's not a hypothetical that will ever happen.
right, but you're making the point that we get mobbed. Okay, let's go to China, where Hegseth
We're not going to have. We just discussed they're turning away from China to go fight with people they can beat.
Oh, neither one of us believe that. Neither one of us believe that. Right. So the point I'm trying to make is there's a reason that these larger countries that are nuclear powers are not directly getting engaged, and they use proxies for it because they don't want to get directly engaged because they understand that you don't want to be in a nuclear standoff.
So they get their non-nuclear proxies to engage?
Yes, because it's much more difficult for a country to justify nuking a country that is non-nuclear, which is the reason why Russia updated their doctrine saying, look, if a non-nuclear state is being backed by nuclear countries, then we may engage this. Meaning their original doctrine was we're not going to go to nukes against a country that doesn't have nukes. They don't typically do that. We would think it's outrageous if they did that. If Israel turned around and nuked Iran, which they may, by the way.
They've already nuked Syria. What are you talking about?
We don't know if they depleted uranium.
Come on. They've already nuked Syria.
Depleted uranium. It's not the same thing as a nuclear bomb.
They found radiation.
They found depleted uranium. Didn't it say the U.S. used depleted uranium weapons
tactical nukes in the Levant? Nobody gives a shit. They're building more nukes with Dimona. Nobody gives a shit.
I haven't seen the tactical nuke thing.
They're building more nukes in Dimona. People know it. Nobody cares. NPT, Iran is leaving it tomorrow.
Good.
There's there's.
By the way, did they have the vote?
It's tomorrow.
Okay, the vote is tomorrow. Okay. Because I saw they were bringing the Security Council in to immediately make a decision after the vote is being held. Good for them. But I guess the question becomes, is Iran going to build the nuke?
Why does it matter? Too late. Like, who gives a shit now? Who cares? Go ahead and build it. Have fun. Kidding me? They couldn't even be bothered to show up on time to go meet with China. This is not a serious government. No, they should not have nukes, this government. Absolutely not.
I thought it was a dereliction of responsibility that they didn't have it already anyway. Personally.
They don't take it seriously, I don't think. So why should we? They don't take this seriously. It's clear Pezeshkian doesn't take this seriously. Very clear.
Yeah.
Why should we care?
Yeah. I've heard people try to defend him.
No. Not anymore. Not after what happened in China. No.
So wait, what happened in China?
He didn't show up to where he was supposed to be. And there was another fiasco, and the statements came out afterwards that China was incredibly insulted by the.
Wait, just to be clear, this was at the SCO?
And they were late to the parade stuff.
Really?
So, yeah. If you don't take things seriously, why do you want to take? You want other people to take you seriously? Not going to happen.
That's poor form. I can't believe that. I believe it, but I can't believe that.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't get it.
We're smarter than the people leading these countries. You go and negotiate at the E3 with Europe and you can't show up to in China on time? That's the message you want to send? You can fly to go and negotiate with France and Germany about your nukes, but you can't be bothered to show up in China on time. Okay.
The E3 thing pissed me off too. It set me off. Because I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, they are obviously, when you got attacked, they weren't like, oh my God, this is an outrage that Iran was attacked. It was kind of, Iran shouldn't attack Israel. I was like, are you shitting me right now? Now, that tells you where they are. So that already tells you that they are breaching the JCPOA that you stuck with for a year, that the US pulled out, and they attacked you for doing so. Like, why are you talking to these people? Why are you talking to these people? Right? And yes, you should show up to your benefactors, or people at the very least who can lend a hand in the pinch that you are currently in, because you will be attacked again. soon.
Yeah,
That's
Operation Rising Lion continues. Like,
that's unfortunate.
they're literally still drawing up contracts underneath Operation Rising Lion. So Operation Rising Lion is not over.
I don't think Iran thinks it is. I mean, I talked to Morandi about it.
I don't
and
know
was
what
like,
the hell they think.
I talked to Morandi about it, and I was like, I said, you understand that Israel is gaming for an attack, and they're waiting for the opportunity to do so. He says, yes. He said, the ceasefire hasn't been called. The war is not over with. So, yeah, we understand that. I said, okay, so why is Iran waiting for Israel to hit it? Why doesn't Israel? I mean, is Iran willing to take preemptive measures, considering that in the same way they went after Yemen, where they went for a decapitation strike, where they murdered the entirety of the government, including the prime minister, and even when they went after your government, it was a decapitation strike, even injuring Pezeshkian, which I have no idea why they would even want to injure. That's their inside guy.
He's good for Israel.
Yeah, he's great for Israel. So it's like, why are you even doing that?
It's like,
right?
Why would Russia kill Zelensky?
Yes. Yeah, agree. Yeah. And his thing was like, a preemptive strike is not off the table. Now, saying something's not off the table and saying you're willing to do it are two very different things. And they are going to stand there and take the blow and then respond after. It's like, okay. I mean, I don't have skin in that game in a direct sense. I have skin in the larger world sense, where it's like, dude, you are an integral part of a multipolar world, and I need you to behave accordingly.
Maybe they're not.
But they are.
But if they don't believe that they are, then they're not.
So belief is enough in and of itself.
They have to have the political will to do it. You're not just a pole because you say you're a pole. That's like saying Saudi Arabia is a pole. No, they're not. They should be, but they're not.
Yeah, they're quizzling fast. They don't have sovereignty.
There's no political will anyway. There's no political will to be a pole in the multipolar world in Iran. India has the political will. Iran does not. Belarus has the political will, but they won't be a pole. That's just how it works. You have to have the capacity and the political will, and you have to have both those things. And Iran only has one, the capacity. And soon, I think that might be gone.
Do you think the issue is Pezeshkian?
Because
I don't get this from Ayatollah. I mean, Ayatollah is like, we shouldn't be negotiating. He's like flat out, we shouldn't be doing this. He was there. Like, and
they're incoherent. They don't talk to one another. There's an issue with communication inside of that government. There were people after the E3 negotiations that were like, we didn't make that decision. That wasn't the decision we'd agreed on. It was just, they're all over the place. They don't know what's going on. They don't know. Nobody knows. They're not talking. There's no communication. There's no coherence. There's no, I don't get it. They need a united front, a completely united front. You have Iran, you have Pezeshkian telling people about the water, asking people for help with water on live TV. What are you doing? Like, it's just, it's bonkers. It's like a clown show.
They should not have him doing interviews.
No.
He did that interview in the States, and it was embarrassing. He looked small. He looked tiny in his couch. His answers were flat. Like when Lavrov did that interview with Christian, what's her name? Welker. That's how you do an interview. That's how you do an interview, right? Adversarial. You understand what you're going into. You're pushing back. You're giving, meaning you are a great representation of the state to which you are representing. He should not be doing that. He should not be doing that job. Yeah, I don't know why Israel went after him at all. Maybe it was just kind of like, let's injure him to make it look as if we were going after him.
Or just to show that they could. Or maybe they never even did. Who knows? All the lies and bad reporting coming out of everything. I'm so, I don't want to say I'm over it because I'm obviously still paying attention, but I'm so disenchanted with the Israeli war on the world because it's just, we just got to wait and see what Israel does, and then we'll figure out how to respond, I guess. It doesn't make any sense. It's just...
See, I'd argue that's
And you're
totally
not here.
happening.
You don't see that there's like an actual war here too for our data, for our privacy, for our our everything, really, our lives, our life logs. There's Israeli companies all over the place coming out of the woodwork, getting contracts with our 911 services, getting
Yeah,
contracts with apps, getting contracts with, I mean, this 911 thing, these people patch into your phone. They have the metadata from not just the call. This is in the fine print. They can get they can get into your Wi-Fi, they can get into your phone, they can get into your maps, they can get into everything. I have no idea why an Israeli data company would want our 911 emergency phone calls. Don't come back, dude. It's getting insane. You have no microphone, you're muted. But so yeah, I mean, we have Carbine, we have Gideon, we have and the greatest part about all this is that it puts a bow on everything because it's all part of Epstein's legacy. Epstein invested in all of these companies. Epstein helped them all start it up. Epstein was a huge investor in Palantir and its subsidiaries and its branches. So it kind of just puts a bow on everything. So while Trump is lying or saying that Epstein is a Democratic hoax, he's having the people that he invested in basically run the entire government. So it's all just a circle jerk. Sorry for my language.
You're an adult. Don't apologize. Yeah, it's like, oh my God, I'm besmirched by her saying this. Yeah, I mean, the data thing is fascinating because people tend to just give it up. Like they just give it up. Like it's not.
It's very passive. It's very passive.
It is, but they use it to monetize it. Like meaning the entirety of the internet is just based on data.
We're so broke that the Department of Health sold our medical records to it wasn't Palantir, but it was a Palantir like company or subsidiary, and they collect the money off of it.
Yeah, that's outrageous. Like a legitimate government.
You're gonna sell my data, at least let me farm the cash off of it.
They don't even do that. They don't even do that. I mean, it's outrageous. Like it really is. In the very beginning, it was kind of like, okay, I'm doing a YouTube video and I'm putting this up. And thank you, YouTube, for the opportunity for allowing me to put this video up. Or I'm on Facebook or MySpace in the old days, or Twitter for that matter. And we looked at it, we inverted the way it was operating. Because Twitter doesn't exist without people on Twitter. Facebook doesn't exist without people on Facebook. YouTube doesn't exist without, it's in the name, YouTube, right? And yet, they don't pay for that stuff. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. When you sign up to, let's say you go to a rando website, you were like, hey, what sign is your boyfriend born on? And are you two meant to be? Hey, I want to know whether we're meant to be or not. Here's my information, blah, blah, blah. And then they sell it to rando company to make profit off of the information that you effectively just gave them. And that happens all through the internet. All of these rando places that you're signing up for and everything else, they just sell it. That stuff matters. As a software engineer, I am telling you, it matters. You will be surprised what you can, the data that you can use in order to write subroutines, in order to weave things together that you wouldn't think would have implications as regards to who they're advertised for, what the information they're trying to get, but it does. I used to create all sorts of equations where you're weighting certain information. And you're trying to figure out, okay, does the weighing of X information in the equation that I'm writing in order to pull back data, is this more or less correct? And then you find your sweet spot. And you can do that all across the board with financial information, health information, what kid or school the kid goes to, the district you live in, all that stuff. All of that stuff is so important. It sucks. It's not good. I don't know. I mean, I know we sound very black pillish today. That wasn't the intent. That's not the objective. But isn't that black pill needed to recognize that, you know, it's kind of like the alcohol?
There's no light pill to take. The light pill we took on Thursday when we talked about this SCO and the China parade. That's the light pill. There's no light pill to take when we're talking about the West. There's just nothing. There's no good coming out. I mean, there might be some domestic wins that like MAGA's excited about. That I mean, I don't really pay attention to domestic news because who the hell cares? But other than that, there's nothing, no good news, none. Name one.
Acceleration to collapse.
That's the silver lining.
Yeah. Because it has to
And the best part is that MAGA doesn't even know it's the acceleration to collapse, so they're cheering it on with us. They just think it's like go, go, go. We're gonna get.
It's like we're awesome.
Yeah.
Look at
I'm
us.
like,
Look at
and
us
I'm like,
killing-
yes,
we're killing
go,
growth.
go. I can't stop winning. There's so much winning.
It will collapse. I know they think that this will go on forever. It will not. You are $36 trillion in debt and you have nothing to show for it. Like, it's not like I could accept. And I remember I had this guy who was right winger, Brian. Brian was hardcore right wing. And he was like, I just don't believe, I think those people are idiots. And then all things being equal, I would prefer to have my own money to spend it because I don't believe they're going to spend it correctly. And he got to make this point, like, look, if we were 36 trillion in debt and then we had healthcare, education, we had high-speed rail, nobody was homeless, etc., I could live with that. This is different, right? Like China's building shit left and right. And you're looking at their subways, you're looking at their rail, they're building these hyper tube trains that can get from point A to point B in just blistering speeds, like faster than airplanes. And California has been trying to build a high-speed rail for what, like 20 years? It's like, what the hell? And you look at our subways. Our society is falling down around us. And part of me thinks that part of the reason that they voted for Trump, A, because Democrats suck and they didn't put anything up, but B, he is the guy who you could be 380-pound diabetic with lung issues that can barely get from point A to point B, but he'll say, you're beautiful. You are fantastic. You are the healthiest person on the planet. You are just winning. You just keep on winning. You don't think that's what makes me. You're sexy. You're so sexy when you're
like
having
what
difficulty
they
breathing.
call the Ottoman Empire, the dying man of Europe, or the sick old man. That's us.
Britain. Yeah, they used to call Britain that, the sick old man of Europe. Yeah. Yeah, that's us. But we don't see it. That's the rub. We don't see it. We're dying younger.
I don't think that you're supposed to see it until it's like,
imminent, until it happens.
Yeah. I think that's like where the normies are. They don't see it until it's like here.
Yeah, but see, that's the only time you can have change. I really do think this is a mechanical process. I think people are robots. I don't mean that in a negative sense. I just mean that people respond to their environment. People think they have more agency than I think they do. And yeah, you can have willpower to overcome certain things and everything else, but all things being equal, kind of like in this, oh God, what is it? Psychohistory. Like if you're watching, it's not Dune, it's Foundation series, Asimov, where they develop the psychohistory and that type of stuff. I guess my point is, you keep going as a society until all of your productive energies are done. People finally, it's more of a pain in the ass to keep going as opposed to change it. It crashes. I don't know a way out of this. I don't know a magical door. I guess that's my point.
Ride, surf the Kali Yuga, bro.
One last thing before we go. Putin. There is a lot of talk in Europe about this whole security guarantee stuff. Putin has said this before, which is why I'm shocked that this is now a story again. But this is bubble up in the press again. Italian press was talking about this idea of the coalition of the willing and how it was effectively nonsense, how the coalition of degenerates fell apart almost immediately, and that all of this talk looks silly because these leaders seem suicidal, knowing full well that they can't beat the Russians. This is an Italian newspaper, by the way, effectively saying these leaders are trying to feed Europeans to the Russians in a war that they know they can't win. Putin has said this. This woman is gorgeous, by the way. Putin has said on more than one occasion, if you put them in Ukraine, they will die. period. They are legitimate targets. He said it on more than one occasion. He said it again, and people are like, oh my God, Putin is threatening Europeans in Ukraine.
Well, someone
It's weird.
someone said to me the other day, they were like, well, I think that Russia at least follows the Geneva Convention when it comes to foreign mercenaries. I was like, no, they don't. They get no quarter. Like, they want them to come to Kiev, Habibi. Like, so people they don't know, man. They don't know. People have just they have just started watching this war when Trump got elected. A lot of these people. So, and Trump tells them it's a personality
Oh,
problem.
so this is new to them.
Yeah,
That's your point. This is new to them. They
and
haven't,
Trump tells them
up to
that
this
it's
point, they're like,
a personality conflict. So that's what they think.
they're out of their minds. And I'm trying to find, okay, I'll play this clip first while I'm looking for the other clip. This is Putin, again, at a conference, I think this was a couple of days ago, making a point. You are legitimate targets. If you step foot in Ukraine, you will stay in Ukraine, buried, face down into the mud.
With communication whatsoever. As for the potential replacement of the troops in Ukraine, well, that was one of the root causes for the Ukrainians' desire to join NATO. So should there any troops be placed in Ukraine, especially now in the course of the military action, we would treat those as righteous goals for an attack, a righteous target that we will aim for with communication whatsoever. As for the potential placement of the troops in Ukraine, well, that...
Now, this is the very diplomatic way that Putin is effectively saying this. Of course, Medvedev has a very different way of putting this. I will show Medvedev's clip because he's
amazing.
I think he's always the honest broker in the way that he talks about this stuff in very direct terms. This is Medvedev when asked about the coalition of degenerates that Europe is talking about sending into Ukraine.
Есть такая, чем они занимаются, или выражают на английском языке, это bullshit, или просто
He's perfect. Are we waiting for a video?
Oh, you didn't see it? I thought you saw it. Okay, wait a minute. Let me try this one more time. Maybe I screwed up something. Hold on. This is Medvedev attempt number 2. Let's go back to the beginning so you can see it.
Это чушь собачья. Значит, ересь такая, то, чем они занимаются, или выражаясь на английском языке, это bullshit. Или просто shit, как угодно называйте. Вот они собираются и рассуждают на тему того, какие гарантии дать этой самой Украине. А они сами себе что-то там придумывают, вытаскивают из разных мест, потом предъявляют это в качестве гарантий. Никаких последствий это иметь не будет. А это чушь собачья. Значит, ересь такая, то, чем они занимаются, или выражают...
Yeah, he's like, this is bullshit. These people are coming up with these ideas. They lead nowhere. And yet they still throw the stuff out there. And that Italian newspaper, I don't think they had any love for Russia for all intents and purposes. It's kind of effectively saying the exact same thing. And you get Merrick's out here who's decrying the fact that Germany and Europe has no power in the process, and how they are effectively completely beholden and dependent upon the United States. Give me your take on that, because I have one last video. Oh, okay, right here. This one. And to make it very clear, the Russian military put this video out of Danish troops who were stupid enough to go into Ukraine and will now stay in Ukraine forever as a result of a military strike hitting them directly. They're being watched by drones. And those Europeans are no more. You were warned. You were warned. I'm not trying to be a hard ass. I'm just trying to say this is kind of math. You're stuck with the process. If the Russians allow any Europeans into Ukraine, it gives the precedent that Russia is not serious about defending the territory from Europe, meaning the expansion of NATO. Hence, when they find Europeans,
Putin said, "You don't get to talk like that to us anymore." What makes you think that you can act like that? If he told you you can't talk like that to us anymore, what the hell makes you think that you can act however you want? Let them get killed.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. And then they come afterwards and say, they were humanitarian workers. Okay, well then label your trucks and vans and don't be near the front line. Next. Like, I don't have any sympathy whatsoever.
Agreed.
3 years into this.
And by the way, I don't even believe they were humanitarian workers.
No,
That's
I don't
like,
either.
You blew up my coffee factory. Putin just attacked a factory because I just love
Okay,
coffee
it
from this
literally
factory.
took me 35 seconds to research the company myself. I didn't even look in the Russian press. I just researched the company myself on like Grok and like Google and was like, oh, they're a freaking weapons company with Pentagon and Israeli contracts. Of course. And it
Yes.
took 2 seconds. That's
And
what I'm
by the
saying.
way,
It's like
Russia
so
has
low, it's so low effort and so low energy these days. It's almost insulting.
But the media will report it as Putin brazenly blew up Zelensky's favorite coffee factory
Oh, darn.
because it was Zelensky's coffee factory. And he was just being
Yeah,
punitive.
because it's a conflict of personality.
Yep.
Okay.
And by the way, they've been doing this more often. Do you remember when they blew up that restaurant in Kiev? And just so happened that there was a military meeting in the middle of the restaurant in Kiev. Russia not only blew up the factory, but when they were taking away foreign mercenaries, apparently they hit the hospital. That
They
those
hit the
foreign
hospital, yeah.
mercenaries. Yes. We are not fucking around with this. Like they're
No.
trying to make this point very clear. We are serious about this.
Every time they are holed up in a hotel in Odessa or in Kharkiv or wherever, the Russians will blow it up. And every
Yes.
single time they say, oh, foreign medics or foreign humanitarian workers. Okay.
It's like, sure, that's what they were. So I forgot that is good news.
That we can end on a high note.
Yeah,
Russia will keep killing people. They keep coming to Kryvyi Rog. Stop coming to Donetsk, Habibi. Stop coming to Mariupol.
Oh, that's so dark. That's so
dark.
Sarah Bils, DD Geopolitics, you are fantastic.
I love you. Get some sleep. My God. You're
I've been
dragging.
asleep. I look
Go
that
to
bad.
Go back
Don't
to
look
sleep.
I look that bad. Jesus Christ. You realize I look that bad.
You sound
She's like, you look
tired.
like death warmed over.
No, you don't look bad. I can tell you're tired.
Yeah, I'm okay. I need to wash clothes. I have an article to write. I mean, I have
Oh my
responsibilities.
God. Yep. See. All right. Well, try to get some rest. It is Sunday.
To be fair, though, it is very early here. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning here. So I have all day. I can go back to bed.
You have
in
all
an hour
day.
or so.
Well,
Sarah?
enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I will stream tomorrow. I'll see you guys in like 18 hours. Something like that. I don't know.
You have a good night. You be safe. All right, guys. We have come to the end. Jamal does look tired. Oh, God, I don't feel tired, if that's the case. Yes, I was up late. No, I don't necessarily feel tired. And the moment that, we start moving, at that point we start moving. So it's like once I'm up, I'm up. It's just kind of the way it is. This is Justice for Karma. Sarah loves Jamal just like we do, and all his ups and downs. What downs? What are you? I am at a loss for the downs. I'm at a loss. Can you go on some riots in Indonesia? Left Side Crew, I don't know where they are, right? So apparently they are. All right, so the last that I checked, or the last that I saw, they were withholding or holding back on the riots that were supposed to take place in Jakarta. Apparently, they were concerned about the police presence that was there. In other regions of Indonesia, there were riots. I mean, like they were setting buildings on fire and whatnot. Brian Berletti has made a fantastic argument that I except that all things being equal, this has to do with USAID, NED, and basically funding that is creating havoc and chaos in Indonesia. I'm going to hit Brian up, see if he can come on the show and see if he can join to have a conversation about it, because he's fantastic with that stuff. I also like to get his take on, well, ups and downs. None of us have a perfect life. If none of us have a perfect life, then it's just a life. It's not a down. It's just a life. Yeah, I'll see if I can get Brian on to have a conversation about it. Chemotherapy takes a lot of water. Chemotherapy? What the actual F are you talking about? Chemotherapy. That is a shame. Chemotherapy. Let's go to the chat real quick. Jomosino, it means they can do this to you like the Gazans. Duh. And Jomosino again, it's too obvious. They're sending a message to the sinners, and they want to hedge against all concerns to close the Strait of Hormuz. This is Faze Will Super Chat. Thank you, Faze Will. Appreciate that. And Mama Thomas, enjoyed the show. Get some rest. Well, you all may have the luxury of rest. I do not have work to do. So there is that. There is that. Hope Brian comes on. Jenny Lynn, yeah, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, he hasn't been on in a week or so, so usually he's okay with doing it. Jamal next from Singapore. Livio Sapion, this trip is not about travel. This trip is about expenses. How do you save cash? And two things. Isolation allows you to focus on the show. There's that. And if you can save cash doing it, there's that. It was purely about saving funds. It wasn't anything else. Keystone, you should be ashamed. Keystone, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. But okay. They're always dissenters. Brian has done some great research into these NGOs. Yes, he has. He really has. He really has. Standalone, Charles G. That is not my. I was in Indonesia back. It's amazing. Yeah, Indonesia is. So, you know, there's like Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, I guess Cambodia. All of these states are kind of just a cluster. I've done Vietnam, I've done Malaysia, I've done Indonesia. Indonesia is. There's some states, some countries that put you in closer to real life. I feel like Indonesia is one of those. Those states can be invigorating. And so this is kind of, I guess, the way I feel about it. Malaysia felt more closer to America in the way that Malaysia operated. It's just the kind of way it is. Yeah. Brian, Ben, Carl, now Jamal are around me a lot. LSC. Oh, thank you for that. Thank you for that. I've been to Bali only. Indonesia is huge. Yes, Indonesia is massive. That's the other thing that I don't think people fully get. Indonesia is a massive country. I've never been to Bali. So Carl is in Bali. And I told Carl at some point I'm going to get down there to visit him. Bali is supposed to be gorgeous. It's supposed to be gorgeous. The issue is just cost. Like, this trip was not based on, I would have been perfectly content being back in Richmond, eating kabutos and, you know, at a weed shop or something. No, this came out of issues of expense. And then it became kind of like, okay, well, can you satisfy your urge to see the world while also cutting expenses? And depending on where you are, the answer is yes. Certain countries are too expensive. Russia is very expensive. China is a middle ground. If you are staying in China for long term, you may be able to get an apartment for like $600, depending upon where you are and how far you are from the city. My expenses are not specifically limited to apartment, though. My expenses are also limited to medical care. So anywhere I go, I also have to pay for medical care associated with it. So rent, medical care equal one cost, and you have to kind of factor that into anywhere you go. So it's just kind of the way it is. China, I would love to go to China. I would love to go. With Jamal and his wife vlog, Jamal travels from time to time in the future. I do not have a wife. I have an ex-wife. And After last night, I have an ex-girlfriend. So there's that. All right. I am going to be, the medical thing is not cheap though. Like I have to get people on my show know. I mean, people that have been with me for a long time. I have renal failure. I have kidney disease. I've had it since I was 17. And anywhere you go, you have to pay for treatments because if I lived in Europe, Europe will pay for it. Like if I was in a clinic once. I was in Egypt, and one of the guys, I didn't even know that the guy spoke English, but we were sitting in a waiting room. He pulls out a cigarette, and he's smoking in a clinic, which is it's Egypt, right? So it's just badass. These are cultural experiences that I love. And he gives him a cigarette, and we were sitting there smoking in the clinic, and he's like, "How much did you pay for this?" And when I told him, he says, my government in Germany pays for all of my treatments when I travel. So everywhere that he goes around the world, whether it's for work, vacation, whatever, Germany covers the tab. I could have slapped that guy. It's like, motherfucker. As an American, you don't get that. As an American, anywhere you go, you have to pay for any treatment or any kind of medical care that you effectively get. Your insurance is isolated to the US. Even if you have Medicaid, Medicare, doesn't matter. Your insurance is isolated to the US. And so if you're European, your health insurance, your government most likely will pay for it. If you're an American, not so much. So, yeah, I know, right, Barry? Ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit? Smoking cigarettes in a clinic. Ain't that some shit? Those are cultural experiences that I love, though. Like, that would never happen in America. Just never happen in America. It was a good clinic. It wasn't even a bad clinic. The clinic was a good clinic. But we were just kind of sitting there waiting. And I don't know how Cairo is now, but at the time, everybody smoked. It's like, God, man, cigarettes were everywhere. And he just was like, hey, would you? It's like, oh, okay. We just, and he's smooth as can be. Just, by the way, and it was just kind of like that cultural experience. I love that stuff. I love that stuff. I remember my ex-wife at the time when we were traveling, she was like, if you're traveling through the Middle East, they have these hookah factories or hookah facilities anywhere you go. And in these hookah facilities, like if you're at a train stop, if you're at a bus station, if you're at pretty much anywhere. And I remember she was like, don't bring that home. Like basically, don't start smoking when you get home. Don't do it. Don't do it. And Lord knows I bought it home. Portugal is that way too. Anywhere you go, you start, like they have these pastelerias, I think they're called. Coffee, sandwiches, butter. Oh, I ate that. God, so good. So good. So good. Jeremy, thanks for your great work, Jamal. If you ever head to China, try kumaning. This is going to sound slightly racist, and it's going to sound pretty ignorant, especially if I'm wrong. Is this where in Bloodsport, where Jean-Claude Van Damme? No, they were in Hong Kong. I think they were in Hong Kong. It was a Kuomintang thing. Kuomintang, that's where I'm taking it from. I will look that up. China is a little bit more difficult to get a visa for, especially as an American. But considering if you could do it, it's passable. Like, if you're in Europe, for example, if you're in Albania treatments are like 110 each. Hungary, 150. Germany goes up to like 350. Europe or England, like 450. France, 350. Kind of depends on where you are. China is kind of like on the European side, but on a lower scale in regards to the cost, even though obviously China is a gorgeous country. So maybe we'll see. I need to crawl my way back at some point, back across Asia. And the plane is going to have to drop in China before it goes to further places, especially if it's going to Africa or somewhere. So we'll see. All right. We have reached the end. Shout out to Sarah Bils. She is fantastic. She's awesome. Yeah, she's awesome. I hit her up for this and I was like, hey, will you be down to do a show? Both of us co-hosts. It's not me just asking questions, co-hosts. And I was dodgy in doing so because I don't like asking anybody for anything. And all things being equal, when you ask for something, you're extending. You are, I don't want to say presenting weakness, but it's not really weakness. But it's like you are putting yourself out in a particular way. Because a person could just say no. Hell no. There are some people who, if they wanted to come on my show, the answer would be hell no. But she was nice. She was like, yeah, I do it. We get along well. We vibe well. So yeah, shout out to her. Deepest appreciation for her being willing to do this. Jamal, you don't have to go towards any notion. You can go your own way. Oh, I do go my own way. I do. But you must understand, man, it's if when you're doing your own show, it is purely your point of view. Everything that happens is your point of view. And you as a person can have blind spots. There are things that you may not do well. There are things that you may struggle with. There are things that somebody else may do well. Like when you're working at the radio station, you're working with a team. You have producers, you have a co-host. I never wanted a co-host, but the producers part, I did want. Because there are things where they could be like, hey, you're fucking that up. Or hey, you should ask this question because you're missing this angle on this particular thing. Those things help. Having a co-host is having a second point of view on something. And obviously, Sarah and I disagree on stuff all the time. It helps. It's good. It's a good tension that's created in that, as opposed to having your individual thrusts sometimes. So yeah, obviously, I go my own way, but I do appreciate her joining me for this. I enjoy it. Hope she enjoys it also. Okay, I don't know what that means, Lenny, but fair enough. I totally don't know what that means. It's normal to disagree. It is. Perfectly normal to disagree. Perfectly normal, especially when they're honest actors. So, yeah. All right. I will end this. Why do people keep bringing up Danny Haiphong? Because it was a train wreck when he was on the show last. And I'm not even going to touch it. That shit is over with. It's done. Feel how they feel. I don't care. Just kind of where I am. We had our say with one another. The world is good. So, yeah. I have no feelings about it. I don't care. All right. Look, I would say this. I would prefer to talk to people who are honest actors, as opposed to engaging with agendas, just as a rule. And so, yeah, those things aren't a loss. Shit happens, exactly. Losing KJ, that I care about. That I care about. Randos, no. All right, let's call it a day. I'm going to say like. I'm going to say share. I'm going to say subscribe. Yeah, it was a train wreck, Charles. Because look, that's not what I aim for. That's not what I aim for. Think of any show that I've ever had, going all the way back from the beginning of the channel and from the beginning of this new iteration. Those are conversations. And even when I'm arguing, like arguing with Sarah or arguing with Alex Craner or arguing with, I don't know, I pretty much argue with them, I guess, at some point. But those are good exchanges because the objective is to try to understand A, where they're coming from, and B, for clarity for self, for even for me, because sometimes they inform my point of view. That was not that. That was something else. And that is not the objective of any of this. That's a train wreck. That's a fail on a massive effing level. So that's my take. All right. It's not going up standalone because I'm suspicious of motives in that. So no, that's not going up as a thing. All right. I'm going to say like, yes, it was over China. Yes, it was over China. You don't even have to guess. You already know, right? For some reason, we talk shit about the US constantly. And yet China's in a glass vase. It's like, get out of here with that nonsense. Just ridiculous. All right. I'm going to say like, no, we don't all have motives. No, we don't, Charles. Some people are honest actors. Most of the people who come on the show are honest actors. They just are. Like, closing this out. That issue is dead, in the ground, buried. And we're moving forward from that. I'm going to say like. I'm going to say share. I'm going to say subscribe. And I will see you all. What's today? Sunday. I'll see you all Monday morning, bright and early. Be safe all.